sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity host Steve-O. Sit back each week while Steve-O educates you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O with today's expert in their field.
Hey, good afternoon. You've got another Ask the Expert show. We're with you every Thursday from 5 to 6. You can drive home with us. And, we get so many emails from listeners telling us the type of shows you'd like. You asked us for a plastic surgeon. We got you a plastic surgeon. We have also gotten so many calls for a criminal attorney, mainly DUI, DWI, and voila, we've got one of Florida's finest, Antonio Valente. He's with us. He's a criminal attorney. He's out of Miami, but he also practices in Broward and Palm Beach. This is his first show. Please help me welcome him. Hi, Antonio.
How you doing, Steve?
It's your first show.
Sure is.
Well, he's going out to get sunglasses after this. Well, you're a criminal attorney. Tell us a little bit about your practice.
All right, so my firm is ValienteLaw. We're based primarily out of Miami is our base. We do have offices in Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach as well, where we'll take clients there. We do, I'd say primarily, criminal defense, anything from traffic-related misdemeanors to, drug offenses, homicides, murder, rape, you name it, DUI, etc.
How long have you been in practice for?
So I've been in practice for going on eight years now. The first 6 I spent at the public defender's office in Miami-Dade County.
Wow, what an experience.
That was definitely, great experience, great work.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
Well, we've got you now, and I guess the biggest question that people have is, what happens if I get pulled over and I've had a few drinks? What shouldn't I do, first of all?
Yeah, that's one of the questions, we get the most as well, and it's, what shouldn't you do? Regardless if you've had drinks or not, I always tell my clients or just people looking, asking for advice, when you're on the street, you're in the police officer's world. You don't try to be a smart aleck. Don't try to be, regardless of what you're going to say, be polite, be courteous. Know that most police officers, officer shootings and deaths are from traffic stops. So they're extreme. I'm a lawyer. I do this for a living. If I get pulled over, I'm nervous when that police officer comes by. I still get
it's
that
just
same
natural.
Absolutely. And so the first thing I tell people is just to, remember you're in their world, and be polite. What shouldn't you do?
Are police officers now there's a lot of shootings I'm talking about at police officers. When I grew up, you had so much respect for the police. What is the psychic of a police officer now? With all these, you hear seems like every week there's another police officer being shot at, and a lot, like you said, a lot of times pulling over somebody.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'd have to ask a police officer, exactly for what it is like now. But I think at least as long as I can remember, certainly as long as I've been practicing, this is, probably nationwide, right? How they're just getting a bad reputation, sometimes warranted, sometimes not.
Yes, right.
And unfortunately, one police officer does one bad thing and it makes an entire department look bad.
Okay.
Right? Either way, they certainly are very nervous when they pull people over. I always thought if I was a police officer that whenever I pulled somebody over, I would always have them step out of the car, just get on my loudspeaker. But for whatever reason, some or most don't.
Well, I guess the reason what I'm getting at is I would think maybe officers are a little bit more nervous now walking up to a car. And I actually saw a show and it said you should put your hands on top of the steering wheel. But I guess what you say is it's mostly about just being courteous to them.
But I mean that as well. I'll tell you that every time I get pulled over, that I absolutely do that. I think to myself, this officer's he's approaching. He doesn't know who I am.
Right.
He doesn't know what may or may not be in the vehicle, what state of mind I'm in. So I'm going to do everything I can to alleviate any concern that he might have. So if it's at night, especially before the officer, I mean, as soon as I pull over, my hazards are on. I'll roll down all my windows. I keep my hands on the steering wheel and turn the dome light on inside the car.
Oh, okay.
And I don't move.
Okay.
And when he gets to the car, when he gets to my window, I mean, I'll look at him. Hands are on the steering wheel. If he asks you for your license registration, I'll tell him, officer, my license is in
my glove compartment or something.
It's in my right rear pocket. I'm just gonna grab it, and then my registration's in the glove box. Just so you know, in Florida, we have a lot of people have concealed weapons. I think that's something that you absolutely again, whether you have a permit or not, you might have a weapon inside of your vehicle, completely, legally, so to speak. Let's say it's
you
not.
need to let them know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say let them know kind of first thing. Right. Let them know where it is. I've had a situation. I've seen when officers will pull you over. I mean, again, hands on the wheel. When they come up, it's like license registration. Officer, not a problem. Like I just said, my license is in my pocket. And I just want to let you know, there is a loaded firearm in the vehicle. It's in the glove box. It's in the door sill right here below me. And again, that's why it's important to keep your hands on the steering wheel so they don't think that you're trying to grab for it or anything like that. And they'll give you instructions on what to do. They'll tell you what makes them feel comfortable. Okay. Sometimes the officer will just say, well, all right, where is it? It's here in the door sill. All right, so can you unlock the door? Sure. And they'll open the door and they'll just take it out, and then everything else goes as normal. Other officers will, be very, and I guess I'm speaking now from personal experience. They get pretty specific with their instructions. I know one time it was an officer. When I said that to him, he instructed me to, literally use your right hand, or no, take your left hand and unlock the door. All right. At that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the door. You're going to keep your hands on the wheel. I'm going to take the gun out. I'm going to close the door. You're still, you're not going to move. After you unlock the door, you're going to put your hand back on the steering wheel. He did that. He closed the door.
Just took comply, the gun right?
Just comply. Absolutely. And again, more often than not, when you do those things, the officers, they know it, they appreciate it.
Right, I'm sure.
And I think that it's not like some way to cheat the system or kind of, get out of a ticket or anything like that. But more often, let's say you get pulled over for speeding, for example, and you're going just maybe 10 miles an hour or over the limit, and you take all those steps. It might make the difference between him giving you a warning or him giving you a speeding ticket. So,
wow, that's good to know. So, they say if you're getting ready to be arrested, don't say anything. So what does that mean?
I guess from television, etc.
Because we see television.
Yeah, you see that
they actually read you a Miranda right. What is it, Miranda rights?
The Miranda rights. Yeah. Well, officers are supposed to read you your Miranda rights once you're in custody and are going to be questioned. If you are just, when they pull you over and let's say they just want your license and registration. Or if you do get arrested and they take you to the station and they're just asking you routine booking questions, name, address, date of birth, you don't need to be Mirandized before any of that. That is kind of a common misconception that a lot of people have, which, they'll say, hey, I got arrested. They never read me my Miranda rights, get this case dismissed. And it's like, well, did you say anything that would make you,
Right.
did you admit to anything? Did you, no, they just caught me red-handed, So it's like, well, they didn't have to read you your rights,
Right.
And during a traffic stop, they are allowed to ask you, even before you're arrested, whether if you've had any drinks,
Right.
for example. Now, and that's again a common question we get is, well, what do I say? What do I respond when an officer asks me? And let's say I've had a couple drinks. Well, does he have to read you your Miranda rights? No. However, at all times you have the right to not incriminate yourself
Okay.
or not say anything incriminating.
So do you say you've had drinks or tell them how many, or do you not say anything?
Well, you don't want to not say anything because,
Okay.
they're just going to look at you and be like, did you hear me? Do you want me
Right.
to repeat myself? But
Well, what do you say when they ask you if you've had any drinks tonight?
I think it's going to depend on the situation as far as, how much have you had to drink. Let's say you've had a drink, a drink or two at most, and they ask you whether you've been drinking. It might not get you in trouble,
Right.
to say that you had a beer. I was like, oh, there's an office happy hour. I had a cocktail and now I'm going home. Because a lot of times that might explain the odor of alcohol
Right.
that the officer smells, which is one of the reasons, that they'll a lot of times ask people to step out of the vehicle and perform, the field sobriety exercises.
And you should do that if they ask you to. Right? Is that right?
Those, the field sobriety exercises, they're a series of exercises that are developed, really, they're developed in a way for you to fail. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I mean, they're the things that they make you do are, for example, just the finger to nose.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that everybody knows. So using that as an example, and I actually did this just in anticipation of coming on today's show. I was talking to my paralegal, and she was like, "Well, how do you? I mean, if you're sober, you're gonna pass, right?" And I'm like, "No, this was at like noon." I say, "All right, let's look." I read her the exact instructions, and she did not perform to standards, as they would say.
And she hadn't had anything to drink.
Absolutely not. They make you stand with your feet perfectly together, your hands down at your side. Your hands down at your side with your index finger pointed down. Then they'll have you, when they tell you to use your left hand, touch the tip of your nose with the tip of your finger, and then put it down and do the other one. And it's going to be left, right, right, left.
Oh,
All right, now start. And they'll read you the instructions all kind of quickly. It's very it's standardized, and
what if someone like me? I've got two bad knees.
That's another very good point, and something that if you're stopped and asked for to do the field sobriety exercises, first thing you'd want to do is mention every single surgery you've had. I'll get to that just in 1 second, just to finish the finger to nose example, because I think that's the one that resonates the most with people, and I guess our listeners can't see, but our viewers can.
Well, if they're watching the show right now, they can.
So what a lot of people do is they'll take their finger and they'll I just put it right there on the tip of my nose.
Right.
No, that actually putting your finger on the tip of your nose, that not technically, according to the rules, you did not do that correctly.
Wow.
What you just did was you put.
What is the purpose for that then?
That's the pad of your finger on the tip of your nose.
Wow.
So the correct way to do it is literally the tip of your finger on the tip of your nose.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
if you can do it perfectly each time like this, like most people would think to do it. You did not perform to standards, and they can use that against you as a sign of impairment.
Well, what about now? I guess at the scene they can ask you to blow
So
in a breathalyzer.
in Florida, state of Florida does not allow what other states have, and what they call preliminary breath tests, which is when they'll have little handheld breathalyzers on and have you blow on the side of the road when they pull you over. So that's not going to happen to you in Florida. The closest you'll get to that would be if there's a DUI checkpoint.
Okay.
A lot of times they'll have the machine. It's called the Intoxilizer 8000. That's the real name. It's not a joke. It's not made up. They'll actually have that machine inside of like a bus.
Okay. But now, if not, that's not done at the scene then?
That's correct.
So is it done at the police station, the jail?
95%.
Okay.
Unless it's a mobile checkpoint, it's always going to be done at the police station.
So you being the lawyer now, should someone do this if they're told to?
I think unless you've had absolutely nothing to drink, I personally, I wouldn't. I don't trust the machines.
Okay.
They're very inaccurate. There's
Are
lots
you
of
in
different.
any more trouble by telling them no?
Well, so that's I guess that's the rub, right? Is
Yes.
that there's again, by driving in the state of Florida, you're consenting, and it actually says on the bottom of everyone who has a Florida license that you're consenting to taking any field sobriety tests required by law.
Wow.
I mean, it's right there on the front of your license. So
I never knew that.
if you refuse to give a breath sample, they could charge you with another crime. I mean, they can still charge you with DUI. They don't need the breath reading
Right.
to show that you're under the influence. And a lot of times people will still be charged with DUI without the breath reading because they could be, for example, under the influence of a controlled substance.
Gotcha.
And they're going to, blow a zero. But they'll still,
Well, we're here with Anthony Valente. He's a criminal attorney, practices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. If you'd like to contact him, his phone number is 786-361-6887, or you can go to his website, www.valente. It's ValienteLaw.com. We're going to go to break right now, and we come back. We're going to have more with Attorney Anthony.
Attorney Antonio Valiente has been chosen as the expert in criminal law by the Ask the Experts radio show. He has extensive experience successfully trying cases ranging from traffic misdemeanors to first-degree murder. Attorney Valiente has successfully argued motions to suppress, stand your ground, motions for new trials, and for judgment of acquittal, and defended clients in pretrial detention and probation violation hearings. Making sure you are represented by the most experienced and competent attorney in your criminal case you may have is essential. Attorney Antonio Valiente emphasizes to all his clients that while he is their attorney, he will guide them through the entire legal process and work together as a team. It is very important that your attorney is available to you to answer any questions you have. Attorney Antonio Valiente handles DUI cases, drug crimes, theft crimes, sex crimes, juvenile crimes, violent crimes, and gun weapons-related crimes. If you get arrested, you need Attorney Valiente on your side. You can contact him at 786-361-6887. That's 786-361-6887. Or go to Attorney Antonio Valiente at ValienteLaw.com. Attorney Valiente practices in Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Dade County.
We're back here. We're sitting here live with Attorney Antonio Valiente, Esquire. Wow, that's a powerful name, bro. Anyway, he's a criminal attorney. He's going to be with us every month. Let me give you his website again. It's www.ValienteLaw.com. And his phone number is 786-361-6887. We're sitting here. We're talking about what do you do if you're arrested? Should you do the breathalyzer? We're finding out things I surely never knew. So what do you do? So a person, if they said you've been drinking, you get put in jail that night, correct?
You would, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if they find that if you were in actual physical control, I mean, this is the terminology that's in the statute. If you were in actual physical, either driving or in actual physical control of a vehicle, and were under the influence of alcohol, a chemical substance, or a controlled substance. Chemical, could be like
Is either one worse?
Well, a drug. Let's say if it's marijuana, perhaps they find marijuana inside your vehicle.
Okay.
Certainly, that's. It's another crime, right? It's going to be a misdemeanor possession of marijuana, depending on the quantity, and any plea to a drug offense is going to result in your license being suspended.
Okay.
In addition to any other penalties that you might receive, and those, that's one of the important things also to note with DUI cases. That's kind of unique, which is that there's not just criminal consequences, but also kind of collateral consequences that are administrative. So you'll have a suspension, you'll have a license suspension for 6 months if you pick up a DUI, which is automatic. That's not done by the courts, though. Once when the police officer turns in that ticket, and the criminal case starts at the same time, the DMV in Tallahassee gets notified. Not the DMV, but Florida Highway Safety Motor Vehicles, and they and your license will be suspended.
Wow!
And usually, when you're arrested for a DUI, the police actually take your license. They take your license, and your license gets sent to.
So it's not just the jail you've got to work, because that's pretty major.
Yeah.
How does a person go to work?
Exactly. So, and it's one of the things that, and police are trained, again, to, one, convince people that have that preconceived notion that you shouldn't blow. They're trained, and they get good at convincing people that, in fact, they should blow. Into they should take the breath test. And one of the things they don't tell you, for example, is that your refusal is going to result in an automatic 1-year suspension. So if you pick up the DUI, you get that 6-month suspension that the DMV is going to give you no matter what. If you refuse to blow and are arrested for DUI, it's going to be automatically 1 year. Well,
wow.
That's kind of true, but it's not the whole story. It's not the entire picture. And the part they don't tell you is that the administrative portion, the DMV suspending your license, that could be challenged. You can request an administrative hearing within 10 days of being arrested, and actually you go to the DMV. That's the Bureau of Administrative Reviews. Again, it's something that you're most likely going to want an attorney to handle for you.
Absolutely.
And you can challenge. Oftentimes, we're successful in those hearings, and that will overturn your the administrative suspension. So even if you refuse to blow, your license won't be suspended by the DMV for any period of time. The other important thing to note
I
on
never knew that either.
Is since your license since they take your license from you, your DUI ticket, the actual copy of the pink copy of the citation, that is your driver's license for the next 10 days.
Okay.
Because you can still drive even though they tell you your license can be suspended, you can still drive if you have a copy of your of that citation.
Okay.
For 10 days. And the reason it's for 10 days is because that's how long you have to let the Bureau of Administrative Reviews know that you want to challenge the DUI, either the stop, or that that the breath test was inaccurate, that there wasn't probable cause that you were driving under the influence, that you were impaired. And so once you do that, you let them know within 10 days. That statute was actually changed just a couple years ago. It used to be that you had 30 days to request an administrative.
They really shortened it then.
They did, which is the reason that if you do pick up a DUI, it's the importance of hiring an attorney as quickly as possible.
And I want to say, because sometimes you think it's something really small. I am telling you, you should never go into a court of law, appear before a judge without representation. I think that is so important. That was another reason why I wanted to get you on the show, because there's so many. I mean, I'm finding out things that I never knew about, and we're going to be going into drug possession. We're going to be going into a lot of different areas of criminal law over the next couple months, and we wanted to start off with DUI or DWI, and as you can see, there's a lot of things that the average person doesn't know. I mean, I don't even drink, so I don't have that problem. But listen, you just never know. I mean, you hear stories out there, people getting arrested. My big thing is I watch too much Cops.
Yeah.
I mean, and they only show the bad things.
There's not a lot of DUI arrests on Cops, I think.
Right. I know. But it's so important to have representation. And I promise you, next month when Antonio comes back on, we're going to take phone calls, and he's not here to represent you or for you to handle your own case. He's here just to kind of give you some guidelines. But you know what? Antonio's a great guy, and I'm going to give you his phone number. It's 786-361-6887. That's his number to his office. He practices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. And listen, if you got a friend who's in trouble, have him call Antonio. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we have another Ask the Experts for you. And give everybody your website address. Absolutely.
It's ValienteLaw.com, ValienteLaw.com.
And now, where is your main office at? It's in Miami, right?
Our main office is in downtown Miami. Again, we do, we'll typically just schedule appointments in Broward and West Palm Beach, like on a particular day. That's, convenient for when our clients want to come into those offices. But we do, we have an office in Fort Lauderdale and downtown near the courthouse, and same in West Palm.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we've got more Ask the Experts. Thanks, Antonio.
Thank you, Steve.
Attorney Antonio Valiente has been chosen as the expert in criminal law by the Ask the Experts radio show. He has extensive experience successfully trying cases ranging from traffic misdemeanors to first-degree murder. Attorney Valiente has successfully argued motions to suppress, stand your ground, motions for new trials, and for judgment of acquittal, and defended clients in pretrial detention and probation violation hearings. Making sure you are represented by the most experienced and competent attorney in your criminal case you may have is essential. Attorney Antonio Valiente emphasizes to all his clients that while he is their attorney, he will guide them through the entire legal process and work together as a team. It is very important that your attorney is available to you to answer any questions you have. Attorney Antonio Valiente handles DUI cases, drug crimes, theft crimes, sex crimes, juvenile crimes, violent crimes, and gun weapons-related crimes. If you get arrested, you need Attorney Valiente on your side. You can contact him at 786-361-6887. That's 786-361-6887. Or go to Attorney Antonio Valiente at ValienteLaw.com. Attorney Valiente practices in Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Dade County.
For ADHD is one of our leading treatments. The